Beautiful. Just gotta wait for a notification to pop up. Let's see. Good evening, Mr. Oliver. Good evening, Mr. or Mrs. FIFA Baguette, whoever the hell you are. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Australia. Land of... I don't know, what is Australia the land of? Land of kangaroos and koala bears. And spiders that can eat you alive. And snakes. Ah, you're Mr. Morgan. Good evening, Mr. Morgan. Make sure you don't run out of fuel this time around. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Alrighty then, here we are in Australia. We know the track, we know the drivers. We know the results from last race. If not, I will go over them in a minute. After the first few runs in qualifying. Or actually, given that we have some time on our hands right now, let's go over the results from last week's race straight away. Just 1 second. There are the standings. Alright, what happened last week? Last week we had Ignites win the race ahead of Mr. Charlie and Mr. Michael. Of course, with Morgan running out of fuel in the last couple of laps. And it looks a bit cloudy over here. Might be some rain coming in. But yeah, we had Ignites in front of Charlie, in front of Michael. Then Morgan in P4, followed by Barry, Nisano, Edzak, Rekla, Van Dongen, and O'Steven. That's our top 10 from last week. That's our top 10 in the championship. And quite frankly, there can be no conclusions pulled out of one single race, because well, it is just the first race of the season. Let's see what Australia will bring us. Unlike Qatar last week, a track that most drivers should know inside out, even after the slight modifications to it. So maybe this will be more representative of everybody's true pace compared to the outlier of Qatar, which is a brand new track for all those drivers. Let's see Barry then in the Haas. First one out on track, on the soft tire, ready to set a lap time. Let's go on board with him. It does look quite cloudy, I gotta say. As we go through the last corner, DRS activated. Using the battery down straight, we start our lap back for T1 just after the 100 meter board. Cut the apex. Doesn't take too much crowd, takes it slowly so far. Well, not slowly, but safely. down towards T3 now. Again back to the 100 meter board. Get the car turned in. Missed the apex a little bit there through turn 4. Again not in the curb. Milk having a lot of understeer through here. Turn 5 again. Away from the curb. Then turn 6, 7. Fast combination. Gets through there cleanly. Turn 8 long right hander. Then to sweeping right left straight. That isn't a straight. Activate DRS down towards turn 9 and 10 with chicane of death. Back into 50 meter board down to 6th gear. Even goes into 5th gear and loses with back end there. Clearly short shifting or downshifting a little bit too much there. That lost a lot of time coming through towards turn 11 now. Slow right hander away from the curb on traction. Turn 12, long right, decent line through there. 13, keep it on the inside, keep it on the left for the last corner. 14, open it up, gets to the curb, floors the throttle. Good on the exit, but that middle sector was not very good. Oh sorry, the beginning of that last sector. Sets to 119.4. I'm pretty certain that can be improved massively. As we have, who else is coming across? That's Scar, no, that's his teammate JB coming across the line, and he immediately goes faster by 9/10. So that looks like a much better lap there for him. We got an Alpine coming across, that's Igniate. Couple thousands faster than JB, about 8 hundredths of a second faster actually, not 8,000. Steven on his medium still getting up to grip. Scar behind his teammate, 7/10 available, big gap for him. We have Sen now coming across the line in the AlphaTauri, half a tenth clear of Igniate with an 18.4, followed by Oliver on his return with an 18.3. Very good banker from him straight away. We got Van Dongen with a 19.2 behind Scar. We got Carbs splitting with 2 McLarens as Scar gets a penalty for colliding with Visano. That's very, very odd. The two stewards, the former head steward and the current head steward, having a collision in qualifying. I'm not sure what could have happened there. In between turns 3 and 4. Very bizarre. That's gonna put back Scar massively, the F3 champion from 2 seasons ago. Very unfortunate for him to pick up that penalty in qualifying. Anyway. We got Steven, he's still pushing, still on the medium, so I don't think he's going to be too representative with his lap time. We got Ballboy coming through the first sector. 27.2 for the first sector. Says that it's purple, I'm not sure if that's accurate. Meanwhile, Charlie going top with a 17.8. Half a second faster than the rest of the field. Very good banker lap from him. See, meanwhile we got Nisano starting his lap. Ballboy apparently purple for the second sector as well, but I can't quite believe it as he's almost losing the car, going over the curb and into the dirt. No idea how he kept that lap valid, but it's not going to be a very good one after that excursion. He's coming now through turn 12, down towards 13 and 14, the last 2 corners. The hairpin of 13. Keep it on the inside, takes the curb nicely, and then 14. Carry the speed around. Oh, and that's Charlie. And he's at a crash coming out of the last corner. That's very strange. Ballboy in behind his teammate by 2/10, despite being on a faster tire. I'm just having a sip of water. What happened to Charlie there? Charlie saying in the Discord, oh my god. Not sure what happened to him there. Let's see, Steven here being out of fuel. On Dongen, he's pushing, he's up by almost 4/10, coming through the middle sector. So what else do we have? We have Wecker pushing through sector 1, 27.1, that's a 10th faster than Ballboy. Edzak also coming through the first sector, also a 27.1 from him. So do we have anyone else pushing right now? No, most people on their out lap. Isano struggling to get a valid time in. Meanwhile, Van Dongen, he just did a 18.8, pushes up to P7 with that, in front of the 2 Ferraris. Weckler invalidated, he's letting some cars through. saying to cut the course on the inside in order to not stand in anybody's way. There's good commitment there to make sure that nobody gets impeded. Edzak coming through the last sector, no idea what the second sector time was like. But let's see, coming through the final corner towards the line. This looks like a very good time. This could be... Yes, it is good enough for the top 5. Just a few thousand slower than his teammate. So very close between the two Alpine drivers. Weckler's back in the pits. Van Dongen... Oh no, sorry. Michael is just starting his lap, coming through turns 1 and 2. Nisano, he's pushing his up by 11 seconds through the second sector, but that's because his time so far has been absolutely diabolical. The only guy still on the mediums. He's now coming through the last corner, quite gingerly. And it's going to be an 19.5, still the slowest time out of all of them. So he's definitely going to switch to the soft tires. Michael there for 27.1 at the start of the lap. Morgan in the Mercedes. I could have sworn that he was meant to be in the Alpha Tauri. Yes, he was. No idea why he's in the Mercedes. Absolutely great to see the same driver constantly not listening to anything we tell him. He just went second with a 17.8, just 7,000 slower than Charlie, who retired. Oliver is also on the lap, but he's struggling a lot coming through turn 3. I think that's not going to be a good lap for him. As we have Michael there, up into P3, 18.0, only 2/10 behind Morgan, showing some good pace with a purple last sector. I think that might actually be legitimate. Meanwhile, Sen, apparently with a purple first sector, that might also be legitimate. He's in P5 right now, with a Aston Martin in front of him. Lets him through. I believe that was... yeah, that must have been Weckler on his outlap. Let's see, 4/10 improvement for Sen coming through sector 2. This could be a challenge for pole, potentially, certainly for the top 3, if he keeps this up. Last sector now, coming through turn 12. Carries a lot of speed through there, a little bit of a wiggle mid-corner I saw there. Oh, and here's some traffic right there at the end. That was a Mercedes of Morgan, almost running into the back of him. That might have cost him some time, coming to the line. But it's still fast enough for pole, and look at the gap between the top 3 right now. You got 16,000 covering the top 3. Absolutely amazing. Meanwhile, Michael, he's just on his in-lap. Ignace, he retired, but up by 2/10 for the middle sector, for the first sector for 26.8. See JB there, just pushing for the first sector now. There's an Fantarry in front of him, but he's going out of the way. That must be Sen. And JB then, not good on this lap. I think he just did his lap actually, and is potentially on an in-lap. Oh, Steven though, he's pushing through the first sector, sets a 27.2, a little bit slower than his personal best, but there are 2 more sectors left for him to improve on. See, meanwhile, Edzak, Ignace is back into the pits. Edzak, he's on his out lap. So do we have anyone that's pushing? JB seems to be pushing, but he's completely out of energy. JB was half a second down in the first sector, of course. See what we have here for Steven. He's still pushing. Let's see what he can do with his lap. He has some traffic ahead of him in the last 2 corners. Hopefully that won't slow him down, as he has... That looked like the car was gonna spin there, coming out of turn 13. But he didn't. Brilliant car control with his accent square tactics. Improved by a 10th, but still remains in P11. Scar's back out on an out lap. Weckler's on a lap now. Let's see what he can do. Yet to set a lap time. 27.4, not very competitive with the first sector. And actually, as we are on it, I will quickly go and check the sector times for our top 3. Let's see, I have 27.0, 17.5 and 33.2. 8.6.3. Very good sector 1 there from Charlie. And Morgan 963. So quite a lot of variation in the first sector, Sen being 2/10 slower than Charlie in the first sector, but when clawing it back in the second and third sector. Let's see Weckler, he's coming up on some traffic. Is he gonna get let through? No, he's not. See, that's the Haas where I think that might be Barry starting his lap. Yeah, must be Barry. Right in front of him, Weckler, good enough for P8. Van Dongen, his teammate and brother, coming into the pits, almost crashing into the pit wall, it seemed like. Meanwhile, Barry, he's starting his lap now. Let's see what he can do on this run. Let's see, do we have anyone else? I think we have Oliver on the lap further on. Let's see what Barry's first sector is looking like. Then we're gonna switch to Oliver. 27.2 up by 4 thousandths, but no real threat for the top runners. As we have Oliver now. 26.9, and now that looks way more competitive. It's about a tenth faster than Sen up in P1. But as we've seen, he can still lose that time as Charlie did. He was 2/10 faster than Sen in P1. And then lost it in the final 2 sectors. Let's see. All that waffling, I didn't even pay attention to Oliver's second sector, but I don't think it was purple. Nevertheless, this could still be a very good lap. Aiming for the top 3. But he does have some traffic ahead of him. That's an that's an Aston Martin ahead of him. That must be Weckler, who's coming into the pits. And Oliver then through the last corner, down towards the finishing line. It is going to be good enough for P6. So he improves his time, doesn't improve his position, just a few thousandths behind Edzak, who is pushing but not improving at all. See, Sen and Morgan still staying in the pits. Which we have Scar pushing, but he's not on a good lap. I think it was Carbs there moving up to P7 and behind Oliver. So quite decent for him. I gotta say, the entire field within 1.6 seconds, the top 14 within the second. I think this F2 grid does seem to be quite close, like we've already seen in Qatar last week. As I'm struggling to find someone with a valid lap time. Ignius, Sector 1. Seemingly purple, not sure if that's legitimate or not. 26.8, no, I think that's purple. He could be on course for pole, but he has a slow moving McLaren in front of him. And that is JB. Yep, JB as he's... Ooh, I think he almost went right there on the curb. But he manages to keep it through the last sector. Now I missed the second sector time again. Absolute buffoon I am. Coming through T12. And on towards 13 and 14, using all the track on entry. And then bring it back to the left hand side for the last corner to open it up. Carries the speed through it. A little bit of movement there on the rear end. But overall, very planted. And it is good enough for pole by exactly 1/10 over Sen. Brilliant from the Alpine driver. As Sen is now on his out lap, coming out right behind the Alpine, which just took the place out in front. Van Dongen now on a lap. Let's see what he can do, coming through the first sector. Through turn 5 and down towards turns 6 and 7. 27.1, so not improving on his time so far. But he can still find some time in the last 2 sectors. Sector 2 now, this is the high-speed sector. Very good indication how much wing those drivers might be running. 44.9. Decent speed through there, gets a chicane. No twitch, no movement, no nothing. Car looks very planted. And Edzak has retired. So has Barry. I believe they've retired in the pits, if I'm not mistaken, so they think that their qualifying session is done and they can't improve anymore. Van Dongen then coming through the last corner, he's gonna try to improve. And he does improve by 2/10, goes up to P12. Still not where he would want to be, I imagine. His brother then validating coming out of turn 4. Sen, meantime, he's starting his lap now. I'm gonna have a quick look at Igni's sector times. Let's see. 8, 7, and won. Very good final sector there, but he did lose some time in the second sector compared to his personal best from the previous lap. Let's see what Sen can do. He has to beat a 26.8. Remember, he had a 26.9 earlier. And it is a 26.8, so he's right on course. Just marginally slower than Ignitz, but it's only a few thousands we're talking about. Coming through sector 2 now, the high-speed sector. Is there on the left-hand side of this long left-hander. It isn't classified as a corner for some reason. Down towards the chicane, and he's up by over a tenth. Now he just has to nail that last sector where Ignitz was so strong, where he took away 2/10 from everybody else. Let's see, can he do it? Turn 11, almost on the grass there under braking. I think he was actually on the grass slightly, his tire showing a bit of turn. Now through turn 12, takes a cup on the inside, brilliant line through there, turn 13. Again, going to the very limit of the track, under braking, through turn 14. And I think this is going to be good enough for pole. And it is, by 41,000, so a lot closer than I would have thought there in the end, but still a very good lap. Morgan though, he's not improving for the first sector. Let's see, Michael, he's invalidated, he's going to try to go for another, oh no, he can't go for another lap. Qualifying is over, so Michael will not be able to improve. Morgan though, didn't see what his second sector was like, but it showed up as purple. Again, not sure if that's legitimate or not, but he is going to try to push on through the end. Very good line there through turn 12. 13, absolutely committed, little bit of a wiggle there. 14, down towards the start-finish line. He only has to find 7,000s to beat Charlie for P3, but he actually finds more and goes up into P1 with a 117.657, half a tenth clear of Sen, just under a tenth clear of Ignitz. So do we have anyone else that can challenge them? We have Weckler. Weckler coming out of nowhere with half a tenth on top of all them. Completely unexpected. Struggling to find a lap time in the first few minutes and then just snatching pole. And actually Nisano. Nisano as well. Completely missed him. With just half a tenth. How did that happen? God, I gotta pay more attention to those guys. Let's see, that's our good one. Nisano in front of Weckler. Then Morgan, Sen, Ignitz, Charlie, Michael, Edzek, Oliver, Carbs starting in 10th place. Scar qualified in 11th, he start from P16 because of his penalty. That promotes JB, Van Dongen, Barry, O'Steven and Ballboy up one place. And then Cassidy in last place, failing to set a lap time in the Williams. But what a last lap from Weckler and Nisano. That was... I did not have in my mind for pole at all. That was completely unexpected from those two. Absolutely amazing. Okay, let's see then. The qualifying was a bit cloudy. Looks to be similar for the race. Not sure if we expect any rain. I don't think we do, but then again, the forecast is only set on approximate precision, so the drivers could still get surprised by a light shower. So yes, we're waiting for everybody to load in to make their strategy adjustments and get their fuel adjustments. And we're going to start with auto formation lap, of course. And here we go. Got 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights, and no revving engines. But it is lights out and there we go. Everybody gets away cleanly. I scrambled to get all the details up. And it seems like Nisano got a better start there. In front of Weckler, Morgan in P3. We have someone dropping down there. I think that's Charlie dropping down. And Weckler already with a spin coming out of turn 2. So he's dropping down the field. He's rejoining back in about last place on those hards. Oh sorry, mediums he is. Morgan though up to P2, Sen in P3. Michael managed to gain a few places, I think up to P7. JB in P8. Charlie lost a bunch of places down in P8 now, getting overtaken by JB there. But it is a good start for Nissan, but Morgan on was softs directly behind him, trying to get that leap on the opening lap. And he is really pushing him right now. He's going to try to get it done down into turn 11, I imagine. He's almost pushing him through the chicane. So he lost a little bit of time with the dirty air. Can't get past one now. Charlie already with a penalty on the first lap. No idea how he's managing to do that. Carps is losing some positions in Red Bull. Barry now losing some positions. I think he got spun around in turn 11, and that's a safety car coming out already. Oh, sorry, a virtual safety car, I mean. So quite an exciting first lap. Way cleaner than Qatar, I must say. At least we managed to go a few corners without having any crashes, but now let's take this breather to see the position changes. So you see Rebecca losing 10 positions with that spin. Charlie lost to JB, gaining 4. Same as Ballboy. Two guys that gained the most positions. Michael there with 3 positions. The other Michael, Van Dongen, also with 3 positions. Carps losing 6. Barry losing 4 positions. So quite a lot of movement on that first lap of the race. And we have 28 more to go. As Barry is in the pits and Carps is in the pits as well. I assume for damage. Let's see, virtual safety car still staying out. I'm gonna use this opportunity to get a quick drink. So let's turn that off really quickly. That looks a bit cleaner. See, virtual safety car still out. As Barry gets a drive-through for speeding under VSC. Absolutely terrible start to the race for him in the Haas. But we are back under green flag conditions. Sen already 1 second behind the lead duo. As Morgan keeps putting the pressure on Nisano. DRS will be activated this lap. But look how close he is. I don't think he even needs DRS to get past. As there we go. Morgan pulling to the inside. Nisano though, keeping it around the outside. Good defense from him. Just turning on my mic a bit. But yeah, with the DRS, surely it's only a question or a matter of time until Morgan pulls past Nisano. But every lap that he's stuck there behind the Alfa Romeo on his medium tires, that's gonna hurt him, because those softs, they do degrade faster than the mediums, and he wants to ideally be in front and build up a gap before the first pit stop. So is he gonna try anything into turn 9 and 10, or a little bit of wheel banging there? Not sure if Nissan will appreciate that, but he did get past in the DRS zone. And that's a position gain for him, so Morgan now in the lead, Nissan in second. Sen within 7 tenths now because of that battling. Michael on the softs in P4. The 2 Alpines doing some team tactics. Edzak with the soft tires being let through. I think that's a sensible choice at this stage in the race. And further down we have more battles. We got O'Steven and Cassidy on the hards. Very interesting strategy for them too. We got Ballboy starting to form a little bit of a trend behind him, but the main guy with the trend right now is JB. On the softs, you would expect him to be able to pull out more of a gap to the cars in behind. He's gonna try to catch up to the 2 Alpines in front, as we have a yellow flag, and that's Cassidy spun around, coming through turn 14. Not sure if he has any damage. He won't be able to go into the pits at that late, as Van Dongen there was off track going through turn 2, and Charlie getting the position, and now his brother also getting past as well, with Ballboy right behind them, but he's not too close to pounce on that. Nisano meanwhile losing his second to Morgan on that lap, and there's Sen spun around. I think it was all by himself coming through turn 5. Nice pure red there. Gets back going, but he lost a bunch of positions with all that. Sorts back into P8, tires surely hot, and now Oliver is going to try to have a go at him as well. And actually Charlie having a go at Oliver and sweeping around the outside of turn 8 there. Very good move from him. As Sen there putting the pressure on JB, trying to recover some positions straight away. JB on the soft, seemingly struggling a bit. Not sure if he's overheating them or if he's just not happy with his setup overall. But he is keeping the position for now. Ignites and Edzak still pulling away from them too, and trying to catch up to Michael, who is right in the back of Nissan within DRS. Meanwhile, Morgan pulling out a 2-second gap so far, so this is going very well for him. JB though, he's losing a lot of positions. Not sure if that was a spin or if that was just him getting hung out to dry on the outside line. But he is really struggling in that McLaren right now. Morgan there, understandably, with the fastest time of the race so far, no surprise. Michael now 1 second behind Nisano, and JB crashed out. And I think he crashed with Vector there, coming out of the final corner, and it's a safety car. And yeah, Vector there getting a penalty for a severe collision with JB. Oh god, what happened between you two? I said that JB was struggling, Vector was right behind him. And they must have made contact coming through the last corner. Severe damage to JB, major damage to Vector, at least to his front wing, not sure if his side post and floor might be damaged. Oh my, this is not good. This is not good for them at all. So safety car then. Let's see who's gonna do what. I'm not sure if the soft tires would already switch to the mediums or the hards. I think you could switch to the hards and go on through the end. But with the field still being that close together, he would obviously be shuffled back to the very back of the grid. And I don't think they would want that. So let's see what Morgan's gonna do then from the lead. So it's good for Nisano though. Now he can close up that 2 second gap that Morgan managed to build up over the last 1.5 laps. So he's closing that in right now. And Morgan is coming into the pits. What is Michael gonna do? He's coming in as well. Edzak stays out. So he's gonna be the lead soft runner then. Nisano regains the lead of the race. Let's see where Morgan is gonna come out. Oh, a little bit of teleportation going on there. And we have a bunch of guys coming into the pits. Actually even some medium runners, so I think they might all be going for the hards, and yes they are. So that shuffles Stephen and Cassidy up to P6 and 8. Morgan coming out right between them, he's on the mediums. So with that, the only guys that haven't pitted so far, I believe, are the top 6, yeah, and Cassidy. Oh, and Weckler actually. Oh no, never mind, he's in the pits now, obviously, to repair his front wing. So, we got 4 medium runners, 2 hard runners, understandably, that didn't pit yet, and Edzak on the softs, opting to stay out. Interesting strategy call from him. He might be trying to slow down Nisano a bit and allow his teammate Ignites, current championship leader, to go through both of them. Although I'm not sure if he would already implement team strategies that early on in the season. But we will see. Charlie there, of course, with that 3 second penalty. I think it's only 3 seconds. Yes, it is. That might hurt him. We did see a lot of penalties in the last race, but this track not that prone for penalties, so hopefully he won't gather many more. We do know that there's a glitch, certainly in corners like T4, or turn 4, similar to the last game where if you go right you immediately get a penalty rather than a warning. So maybe that's what happened to him on the first lap. If that did happen, he obviously has to send in his race director at this recording and show that he did in fact only go off once and got unfairly penalized by the game. As Cassidy is in the pits on the hards. Interesting, so he's switching strategies. He's going with the call that everybody else made, switching onto the mediums. Yep, there you are. Medium tires going on. Good stop, and he's going to be in last place now, where he started. So let's see if that strategy call is going to work out. Here's Barry on 5 lap old mediums ahead of him, and then 5 hard runners. So he should have a pace compared to them. The question is, how far will those guys separate him from the rest of the field? So I think safety cars should be coming in this lap. Let's see, and yeah, there we go, safety car in this lap. So let's stay on board with Nisano then. Behind him is this field of the 15 remaining drivers behind him. See, all warming their tires. Guys on the hards will have a more difficult time warming their tires. Edzak might have a bit of an advantage right now compared to Nisano. Probably more temperature in his soft tires compared to the mediums. Let's see, when's Nisano gonna go? Is he gonna go right before the last corner? Or halfway down the straight? He's going now. Right before the last corner. Oh, and a bit of a wiggle there. But he does have half a second over Edzak. Let's see further behind. Do we see any moves being made? We see some snaking going on. But I don't think there's a move being done. Morgan is right on the back of Steven. I saw that coming into turn 1. Let's check that out really quickly. Steven already losing 8 tenths on the restart. As I said, the guys on the hards struggling with tire temperature in the first few corners. As you had Sen up ahead, putting half his car onto the grass, and that's a spin onto the sausage curb, spun around, and he's falling down the order, down in last place. Unfortunate for Sen, it's his second spin of the day. Immediately second penalty, that might be a glitch there, I'm not sure, as Michael is trying to attack Morgan around the outside of turn 8. Can't get it done, we have one Donkin right behind them as well. And further up front we have Edzak challenging Nisano. I think that's the more important fight right now. Morgan got past O'Steven, Michael got past O'Steven. O'Steven loses 2 places in one corner, and he's gonna lose another one to Van Dongen and another one to his teammate because he just went wide coming through turn 10. Top 3 still remain unchanged, as O'Steven is losing another position against Scar now. Those hards really not working for him right now. Dirt on the tires as well. He's going to need a few corners to clean that off. Oliver now getting past him, and we have Rekla trying to go around the outside and being able to do it. I believe now as we're inside for turn 14, and he does manage to do it. Sen spun through the chicane of turns 9 and 10. He's not having a good day. Carp's now challenging O'Steven, and O'Steven lost about, I don't know, 6 places in half a lap. Very, very bad restart from him. Igni's right in the back of Charlie. I think Charlie got past him there for the restart, if I'm not mistaken. See, Sen got going again. Charlie putting the pressure on Edzak. Ignis there going wide. Careful not to spin it. Where we have Morgan changing him down the inside of turn 6. I think there was a bit of wheel banging going on, still going side by side. And Morgan got the position there on those fresh mediums, so very good restart from him. Edzak now on the back of Nisano. Sen retired, he crashed into the wall at the last corner, and we have a virtual safety car yet again. And we're not even 10 laps into this race. I hope that that was a mistake from Sen and not him retiring on purpose, because you know what our policy is on that. But the virtual safety car is out again, everybody adhering to a speed limit. Apart from that, seemed like a fairly clean restart. Not taking sand spins into account, as we are back under green flag racing. DRS is enabled. See, and Edzak is on the charge against his Morgan 1 second behind with Trio battling for the lead, and he's closing rapidly. Arguably on the best tires right now, the Mercedes driver. But yeah, so Edzak still battling with Nisano, Van Dongen getting past Igniels. He's going backwards on this restart, not as he would have hoped, and Michael going through as well, going into turn 9. Bold move from him, but it paid off, and you see where Igniels wiggling a bit on exit of turn 10. Although that might just be connection rather than anything else. Charlie spun around, coming through turn 11. Unfortunate for him, he was up in P3. Was that contact with Morgan? I'm not quite sure, but Morgan is right on the back of Edzak now. As we are about to conclude the 10th lap. See, in behind you see covering massively is Michael Van Dongen against Michael F1. Michael though going on the outside second position just like that. Absolutely brilliant move from him. Morgan got past Edzak going into turn 1, and now he's challenging Nisano for the lead. Only 2 tenths behind him. Oh, and he's going for it! And Morgan there cutting the inside curb. That would have never worked against Nisano. He almost took both of them out of the race where you gotta be more careful when you do your moves. But still, Morgan only 3 tenths back. Might be able to get Nisano in this DRS zone, of course. Melbourne, the first ever circuit to have 4 DRS zones on one track. Talk about a DRS train, as Van Dongen were getting past Michael into the chicane. Great move for him. Morgan back on the DRS button again, but not being able to close up to Nisano. Nisano seems to have some good straight line speed in that not Alpha Tauri, Alfa Romeo. That's the car he's driving. See in behind, Van Dongen and Michael still battling for P4. Not being able to close up, but Morgan now through turn 13, launches up the inside and carries it around the outside of turn 14. Absolutely brilliant move from him. And does he have a DRS as well? Yes, he does. Nisano, with his straight line speed, still able to stick right behind him. But Morgan will get DRS again, down the straight, going towards turn 3. But Nisano, with a lot of straight line speed, probably depleting his battery as well, tries to challenge him around the outside of turn 3, but nothing can do there. And Morgan gets into first place. Great bit of battling between them two, as we have a yellow in sector 2, and that is Cassidy. Spun around in turn 3, not sure if that was contact. See Nisano now 9 tenths behind Morgan, but gets into the DRS window. There we go, DRS activated, the big letterbox in the rear wing opens. And now he's gaining 7 tenths. Only gained 2 tenths through there, so maybe he depleted a bit too much battery there. Trying to counter Morgan on the start-finish straight. However, he is keeping with him just half a second behind. And he's going to try to keep with him for as long as possible, despite having older tires. Oh, but now he's dropping out of 1 second. Still gets the DRS though. It could be difficult for the next few laps. Edzak now coming into the pits. 11 laps on the softs. So that tells me that the mediums must go at least 16, 17 laps. So those on the hards should theoretically be able to go through to the end. Those on the mediums still have to pit. So Ballboy right now seemingly in a very, very good position. Down in P5. Only 1 second away from P4. And we got Van Dongen there right in the back of Nisano now. He managed to pull away from Michael. Morgan now pulling away from Nisano as well. So Nisano starting to feel the wear on his tires, 12 laps on the mediums. Slowly starting to degrade, slowly starting to lose some pace. As Van Dongen now is going to try to get him. Cassidy spun again through turn 4, and that's a virtual safety car. Did he damage his car? Oh yes, there's no front wing on this car. You can see there, looking through the suspension. Yes, severe front wing damage there to the Williams. There's still a little bit of wings left. Looks more like a front wing from the 1960s or 1970s, more than anything else. But yeah, that's our 4th safety car and our virtual safety car in this race. The limit is 5. As Charlie has made contact with Oliver under VSC. Why do you do that? As everybody now going into the pits. Nisano, Morgan, Michael staying out. Michael Van Dongen with this. Michael F1 coming in. Ballboy staying out, understandably. Throws on the hard. So Ballboy will now be up into 2nd place. As Morgan and Nisano coming out right inside each other. So seemingly the Alfa Romeo there with a better pit stop than the Mercedes. And we are back under green flag conditions. DRS is enabled. Oh, and I'm not sure if Nisano... I think he might have crossed the pit exit line there. Looking at it, that's not ideal. Michael cut the track coming through turn 3, turn 2 that is, gets a 3-second time penalty for it. Morgan gets another set of mediums, Nisano gets a set of hards. Well, obviously Nisano had to go for the hards, Morgan can go for the mediums. Let's see if his mediums will be able to carry him all the way through to the end. So meanwhile though, we have Weckler who just got past Ballboy on the restart. Ballboy now trying to retaliate going into turns 9 and 10. Can't do it here. He's gonna try it again going into turn 11. But it is an Aston Martin 1-2 at the moment. Which is looking much better than the race last week, as there's a bit of a tank stepper for Weckler. Manages to save it though. Cassidy with a 3-second time penalty going through turn 4. Not sure if that's a glitch or not. Again, if you are being affected by a penalty glitch in any of those corners, then please send your recording our way. As I just noticed, Morgan, he got a penalty. Did he get... it's a 3-second time penalty, so he cut the track somewhere where he shouldn't have. So that's gonna put him back massively. Oh, and even sliding for turn 1. With Steven getting penalty now as well. Cassidy retired in turns 9 and 10. And it's our 5th. And with that final safety car of the race. And this actually works out quite well for Van Dongen out in front. This works out very, very well for him. I believe we might be able to even come out in the net race lead in front of Morgan and Nisano. If we check the gap between them, 12 seconds, 13 seconds. I think you need about 14 seconds on the pit stop under safety car conditions, so it's going to be tight. He is certainly pushing, trying to gain as much time over those two as possible, because Shudi is going to come into the pits now. The hard runners though, Weckler, Ballboy, Scar, I think they're going to stay out. Carbs as well. I think they should stay out. They can go through to the end on those tires, I believe. Let's see Van Dongen though. There you go, he's coming into the pits. Don't speed. Perfect pitch pit limiter, and actually Weckler and Ballboy also coming in, so that's going to be a double stack for Aston Martin. Scar staying out, so he's going to be leading now. We had quite a few different leaders throughout the race. Carps is staying out. He's going to be in second place, and where's Van Dongen going to rejoin? Is he going to be in front of Morgan? No, he's not. He's going to be just behind him and Nisano. But in front of Michael. So P5 there for Van Dongen on fresh mediums. He's in a very good place right now. Especially considering that he has no penalties so far. Let's see, Steven also came into the pits, Ballboy as well, he's in P7 behind Michael. So let's take another look at the pit stops. So a couple of guys already with 2 stops now. Some people are still staying with the 1 stop. Maybe some penalties. Everybody with 3 seconds so far. But by far not as many penalties as we had in Qatar. Let's take another look at the position changes, as we're still waiting for Charlie to catch up. Charlie lost 8 positions out of everyone. That's the most that any one of the still driving drivers have lost. Scar gained 15 after starting in P16 because of his penalty. Not sure if he'll be able to hold that, but there's a top 5 finish on the cards for him, I believe. So what do you have? Carbs gaining 8 positions, same with Ballboy. Van Dongen gaining 7. Weckler losing 7 after starting on the front row. Gonna be interesting to see what he can do. Of course, he's one of those that just pitted, I believe. Yes, he did, alongside with Ballboy and his brother Van Dongen. Nisano losing 3 from pole. He's still finished out of victory. See, this is gonna help out Morgan as well though, when it comes to tire wear. But safety car is gonna save sometimes some laps on his medium tires. Might get him to the end. Because we saw Nisano on, what was it, 12, 13 lap old mediums, struggling quite a bit for pace. And now we still have 12 laps to go after this lap, and I think the safety car will be coming in this lap because Charlie just rejoined on the back of the queue. So yeah, this might be difficult for Morgan. He will get to the end, but he will not be very fast in the last few laps. Safety car is going to turn off its light. Any movement now, coming through the chicane. There you go. And Scar is going to dictate the pace now. The F3 champion. He's been in this position before. He knows what to do. Although it is going to be difficult to defend against all those drivers behind him on fresher tires. The only barrier that he has is carbs in the Red Bull. And then you have the fast charging Morgan in the Mercedes. Let's see, when is he gonna go? We saw Nisano go just before the last corner. Is Scar gonna do something similar? Oh, there's contact. Carb's going into the back of him. It's gonna be a penalty for either of them. Surprisingly no. And Scar goes now, before the hairpin even. Carb's unaware. And that's worked out massively for him. 8 tenths, 9 tenths. No, 8 tenths the gap. Great restart from Scar. Morgan right on back of Carbs. He's gonna go for it going into turn 1. Oh no, he isn't. Oh, but now much better run through turn 2. But he's gonna be on the outside for turn 3 now. Can get it done around the outside. Yes, he can, under braking. Pulls in front. Easy move for him. And now Scar, I'm afraid, will be a sitting duck against the Mercedes driver. Unless he can pull off a Landon Norris against Lewis Hamilton, like in Silverstone. So further down we have Charlie and O'Steven switching places, but we're going to stay on this battle right here. Carbs defending P3 against Nisano. Nisano will with his straight line speed, making easy work of the Red Bull driver. Morgan there on the back of Scar already. That's going to be just a matter of time until he gets the move done. Nisano still within the second of that league battle. He's going to hope that his good mate Scar and fellow Stewart is going to put up more of a fight, but he isn't. And that's Morgan back into the lead. Now, can he clear those 3 seconds to Nisano? That's going to be his main challenge right now. Nisano's still stuck behind Scar, coming through the last sector, and Scar actually going off track there through turn 13. Allowed Nisano to go through, and now Van Dongen going around the outside, also getting the move done. So not good for Scar. They're struggling for tire temps, I imagine, in the first lap. Van Dongen and Michael and Carbs are going side by side. Carbs losing more positions, and he's just holding up an entire train behind him. Scar now with a penalty for running wide, coming through turn 2. As no, Weckler hit the back of Carbs and sent him into Edzak. I'm not sure if that's damage to anyone. Might have damaged Weckler's front wing there. And Carbs keeps P6 for now, but that's not going to last very long, I imagine. Van Dongen there is on the back of Nisano as well. He's on an absolute charge on those mediums. And the hard seemingly not working out. Morgan already clear by 1.5 seconds, but now Michael Font is going to go after him. And I think Nisano just says, you know what, mate, you have a go at him, just drag me along. Because clearly Van Dongen on those mediums, being the much faster driver, as Nisano almost loses it coming out of turn 10. Carbs were then losing a position to Edzak and now losing another one to Weckler around the outside. Yes, he is. And then you have Borber and Ignis in behind as well. And you have Barry and Charlie locking wheels. And you have absolutely everybody all clumped up in the back. Carbs is going right. He has dirty tires. He has cold tires. He has absolutely no grip in that car. Ignis gets another position. Now Borber gets another position. Coming through the last corner. Yes, he is. Then comes Charlie, his teammate. I think he's just going to let him through. And now Barry down the inside as well. Sending it. And getting the move. Oh, but great switchback there from Carbs, to be honest. And O'Steven also with the switchback on Barry. Great battling going on there in the back. But yeah, Carp's just absolutely struggling on those hards, just not finding any grip at all. And Van Dongen not being able to pull with Morgan, seemingly, as we have a bunch of drivers getting penalties. Weckler with 6 seconds, Carp's now with 3 seconds, as Weckler is battling with Scar. Scar, similar to Carp's, just struggling on those hard tires, seemingly not the right strategy call, as there's contact and Weckler spun Scar around. I'm not sure if he gave him enough space there on the inside of turn 9. We are not gonna have another safety car. Carp's retired. He had a crash coming through turn 10. But yeah, we're not gonna have another safety car, so we will finish the remaining 9 laps under green flag conditions. As Van Dongen is now slowly discarding of Nisano, and he's just gonna try to stay within those 3 seconds to Morgan out in front. Let's put on the telemetry again, look at the energy. Morgan with about 10% more than Van Dongen Nisano, with a lot more than Van Dongen. Michael as well, so Van Dongen is absolutely pushing to either keep up with Morgan or get rid of Nisano, or both at the same time. As Oliver, he's had some struggles as well. He's down in last place by a country mile. He must have had another spin. Weckler with another penalty. I think that's 9 seconds for him now. Just collecting penalties as if there's no tomorrow. See Charlie there, changing him then for P5. We're gonna keep an eye on the lead. Morgan just got out of the 3-second window to Van Dongen. And Weckler then losing P5 to Charlie on track and through penalties anyway. There you see 9 seconds compared to 3 seconds. That's gonna cost him a lot of time, and Nisano is still keeping with Van Dongen. So Van Dongen, not as fast as we would have thought, or Nisano finally managed to fire up his tires, one of the two. But still, Morgan just keeps pulling away. As Charlie is setting the fastest lap time of the race, so it's going to be an extra point for him. We got Michael with his 3-second penalty, still trying to fight for a podium. Who knows, anything can happen. Van Dongen and Nisano could still get penalties for track limits, so he is very much in that fight for another podium placement. He said last week that his podium in Qatar was more down to luck more than anything else, but I gotta say, he's looking quite competitive today again. As we have a spinner in sector 1, that's Scar coming through turn 5. Michael just struggling to keep up with Nisano there. Nisano is really starting to push his tires now. Finally being able to generate some heat in them. Apart from that, very calm for the field. We got a couple of groups, couple of battles slowly forming, but we are almost at the end of this race, so I can say this race went by faster than I would have expected, and also with a lot of battling, and without too many crashes between each other, I want to say. It was mostly just drivers spinning on their own. Apart from 1 or 2 incidents maybe where the driving was a bit questionable. However, Nisano, he's still battling Van Dongen for P2 and he's only 2 tenths behind him. That's a good run through turn 10. Backhand getting a little bit light there, but he has more energy. He has the DRS, activates overtake and gets past into turn 11. Oh, big slide though on the exit. That puts Michael on his outside again. We're going side by side. And still both facing the right way. Absolutely amazing battling between them two, I gotta say. Michael's just behind them watching, thinking, please crash, as Nisano has another moment of oversteer coming through the last corner. Don't want to overheat those tires. But with all that battling, Morgan just pulling out more and more of gap, he can almost afford a second penalty at this point. Charlie... Oh, he had a big moment coming through turn 2. He lost his front wing, so he's going to be out of the points surely. He's going to have to pit. So Nisano now seemingly losing touch to Van Dongen. Maybe he pushed his tires a little bit too much. But they have a hard tires, so you would assume that they could take that kind of punishment. See, do a quick check for the fastest lap. Fastest lap still in Charlie's hand. 120.485. Svecker and Ignis are battling for P5. Scar with another penalty. Down in P12, he's not going to get any points. Unless he's bidding for the fastest lap. And Michael now putting the pressure on Nisano. Oh, Van Dongen there, getting on the grass on the entrance of turn 14, the last corner, losing a few tenths now. So it allows Nisano to get back into the DRS potentially, as Michael goes for the move down into turn 1 and gets it pulled off. Absolute masterclass, and now he's gonna go after Van Dongen and try to clear a gap to somehow stay on this podium. He has 5 laps to do so. So Steven gets a penalty. Charlie now in the pits, pitting for softs and repairing his wing damage as expected. So he's gonna try to maybe improve his own fastest lap, trying to solidify that. And Michael, he's absolutely pushing now. But Nisano coming back at him around the outside. Brilliant move, but he is draining his battery trying to do that. Michael has about 30% more than him. And doing all that, Morgan is just scot-free out in front. Possibly earning a full-time seat with his drive. Who knows? But it's a very dominant performance from him, if he doesn't run out of fuel like he did last week. Let's see further down here with Ignis and Weckler still doing battle for P5, at least on track, but Ignis should easily get them as Barry has retired coming through the final corner. And Scar has crashed or spun coming through turn 10 as well. Again, no more safety cars from this point forward as Michael... Oh, Michael must have made some kind of... Michael lost his wing. Or he must have crashed coming through turn 2. Absolutely demolishing for Michael. Fighting for a podium on track and then seemingly with a mistake. Hitting the wall coming out of turn 2, I imagine. Losing his front wing, and now he's going to fall down the order and quite possibly out of the points. Absolute hardback for him. After showing another impressive display of pace today. See Scar tires in the pits, he knows that there's nothing left for him. I mean, you could have gotten the fastest lap, but that's up to him. See, as Nisano is back within the 1 second window of Van Dongen. So he's going to try to carry on this fight in the remaining 3 laps when they cross the line. So meanwhile, Michael losing another position to Ballboy, and now coming into the pits. And speeding in the pit lane as well for good measure. And he retires, understandably. What an end to the race for him. He was looking so promising for the entire race, showing some really good pace there in the last couple of laps. And then, what I can only assume must have been a mistake from his side, unless he had contact with Niels. He gets damaged and that's his race done. As Van Dongen is now even getting a penalty, so he could have very much fought for the podium. But Nisano now, he pretty much has P2 secured as long as he keeps it on track, but he's going to try to get it on track against Van Dongen, gets the move done before turn 9. And is now back up into second place. So meanwhile, Ignace, I think he just made a mistake through turn 11, lost about a second to Wegler, but he just has to stay within 9 seconds of him to get in front of him. As Van Dongen's gonna try to put Niels now under pressure to give him another penalty. Or what do I say, another penalty, to get him a penalty, so that we're back on equal terms. So just checking the penalty situation there. Morgan with 3, Van Dongen with 3, Charlie with 3. We got Steven and Oliver with 6, and then Wegler with 9 seconds. But Van Dongen now slowly losing the gap to Nisano. I think his medium tires might be at the end of their life. Pushing them for 12 laps straight is now taking its toll. And I think Nisano has P2 pretty much secured, as long as he doesn't get any penalties. See, meanwhile Morgan out in front, about to start the last lap. See, fuel light isn't coming on, so he's not gonna run out of fuel. He's just gonna try to bring this home nice and easy. See, meanwhile Van Dongen, he's still pushing, he's still trying to at least get P2 on track. As it's just starting to rain outside my window. I would have wished that we maybe would have gotten some rain in the race as well. Would have spiced things up a bit more, but I don't think this race needed much more spicing up to be entertaining. Oh. Nisano there going right out of turn 5. That cost him some time. He's gonna open the door for Van Dongen. With overtake and DRS. He's absolutely sending it now. Gonna make it, he's gonna try to go around the outside. Sano holds against it. And keeps the position absolutely brilliantly done there by Nisano. He's gonna secure P2 with that move, provided he doesn't spin. Meanwhile though, Morgan, he should have won last week, but he ran out of fuel in the last few meters. Now the fuel light is flashing, but he's easily gonna make it to the end. And Morgan wins in Australia with an absolutely dominant performance. Nisano is gonna secure P2 ahead of Van Dongen. Wegler is gonna cross the line in P4, but he's gonna lose a lot of positions because of penalties. Ignitz being promoted up to P4. Balber now coming across the line. He's going up into P5 ahead of Wegler. Edzak, he stays in P7 half a second or 6/10 behind Wegler with penalties. Steven comes across the line in P8. Charlie, he still has the fastest lap. He's gonna keep with the fastest lap, I imagine, unless Oliver can take it from him. Let's see what he can do. He is improving his lap time. Oh, yeah, never mind. Yeah, Oliver's not gonna take away the fastest lap, so Charlie gets the extra point. So he gets 3 points in total. As Michael is saying in the comments section. Oh, Michael to me he had some kind of gearbox problem where his car was in a low gear coming through turn 1. And that spun him around, so just locking the rear tires, I imagine, going trailbacking into turn 1. Unfortunate for him. Let's see, Ballboy there on the screen. Driver of the day, not sure if I agree with that. But let's see the race result then. First the podium. Morgan with the French flag. Can't remember the last time where the French driver has won an FRL. Gotta look through the archives for that. But absolutely dominant display from him today. Let's see, and here we go then. Morgan winning the race ahead of Nisano, Van Michael, Van Dongen, Vanek Niels, Borboy, Weckler, S13, Steven, Charlie, Oliver down in P10, and Michael, Scarberry, Carps, Cassidy, Sen, and JB did not finish the race. I'd say my driver of the day probably... It's actually close between Van Dongen and Borboy, but I think I would give it to Van Dongen, considering the kind of race that he had last week. P12 to the podium. That was a very impressive display from him. So I think I'm going to give him my driver of the day. As we are now going to move on to the interview. For 4 hours, starting tomorrow. Okay then, let's see if anybody can be bothered to join. So I have new supercar tokens, nice. Unfortunately, I don't care. Here we have our winning car. So let me check if we're up for an interview. Let's see if we don't have anybody joining the party. Then we're just gonna call it quits. We'll just give them a minute. Nisano gave a thumbs up. And there he is. I think Van Dongen and Morgan will not be coming. So, Mr. Spinalla himself, Nisano.
Yeah, that's me.
Finishing in P2.
Absolutely.
Not bad.
Not bad. But could have been a lot better.
Yeah, why didn't you win?
Because I had a shit setup. Yeah.
I
I
mean,
came home 5 minutes before the race and took a setup from internet and went with it. No practice.
I gotta say, that's quite a decent result still if you only took the setup from the internet 5 minutes before the race.
Yeah.
I gotta say, those penalties that you had in the last few laps, especially against Van Dongen, obviously you were
Yeah.
aware of his penalty. Was there any thought in your mind that you just should just, take it easy and not fight him too much because he had the penalty? Or were you thinking,
Uh,
bugger that, I'm just gonna go
Fuck
for
it.
it?
I want to stay ahead of him because I didn't know if the penalty was right or not because of the track limits into
Mm,
turn 4. So I thought, yeah, better if I stay ahead of him.
okay.
Maybe his pen is not fair.
Mm. Also, when did you get pole in qualifying? Because I remember watching Morgan thinking, okay, he got pole. When I saw Weckler, oh, he got pole by half a tenth.
Yeah,
And when in the results it said that you got pole by half a tenth. Like, when did that happen?
I got I was the last one to cross the line.
Ah,
So yeah,
okay. Because I did not see that at all, because I just didn't have you in mind for pole at all, which is even more impressive considering that you said that you didn't have a proper setup. Um, let's
I
see.
took some random setup from YouTube. I think it was 26 wings or something with oversteer every corner. I didn't know if you checked after turn 10.
I saw that, especially on the hard, that you had oversteer coming out of every corner, and on turn 10, oh, I was having so many heart attacks watching you through there.
Yeah,
I can't imagine what it must have been like for you driving. Um,
almost perfect.
yeah, I doubt that. Um, but yeah, no, absolutely impressive result considering that you had so many targets with the setup. Next
Yeah,
week, supposedly Las Vegas. We might change that because I've heard that the track limits around there are a bit
yeah,
tricky.
it's very great track limits around there.
Yeah, so we might change that to another American track. Um,
Which track will it be? Miami or?
I can't confirm anything yet. Kota. No, we
Nice.
actually might just switch it around with Miami and just switch the two. It's gonna be either
Yeah.
Kota or Miami, one of the two. Um,
Oh,
it's gonna be 50-50. We're gonna flip a coin.
I
Um,
hope it's Kota because Miami is also not that good.
then we're gonna make sure
It
that it's
has
gonna be Miami.
it has a lot of smoke into turns because the grip is very low.
Well, we'll see. That's what we're gonna discuss in our
Yeah.
admin meeting later this week. If anyone has time
Yeah.
to attend, unlike this weekend.
almost no, almost no one can attend
Yeah.
because yeah,
Um, let's see. Morgan is saying what he wanted in an interview. Well, I couldn't add him to the group chat, so that's unfortunate for him. And I don't have the time to do any interviews because I gotta go out early tomorrow. Then, uh, congrats on P2 today.
thanks. I hope
Thank
Morgan gets a penalty for pushing out not Oliver, O'Steven.
he could. Anything could happen. Um,
Yeah, maybe.
then again, I'm not sure if it's going to result in a 7 or 8 second penalty or however big the gap was. But then again, you've had Stewart, so you can make it whatever penalty you want. Um, no, no, you
4.4.
can't. No, you can't. Just ban him. No. Um, anyway, thank you
Just
for.
make a story good.
Anyway, thank you for racing today, and best
No
of luck
problem.
for next week. Somewhere in America, might be the East Coast, might be the
Somewhere
West
in America.
Coast, might be in the South, but we're going to be somewhere in America for sure. Um, yeah,
Sounds good.
thank you for racing, and best of luck for next week, of course. Um, and to the viewers, make sure you tune in tomorrow, 7 p.m. for F1. Hopefully less safety cars there. much cleaner driving, much higher caliber of drivers. It's gonna be amazing. Make sure you tune in. Thank you for watching.